Hello and welcome to Huddersfield Town Extra Time. I'm pleased today to be joined by Lee Makel, former Town player, and Mel Booth, formerly of the Huddersfield Examiner. Lee, if we start with you, we were just talking before we started recording. Crazy ending to that game. Do you want to talk us through it?
Yeah, I think first half had a lot of possession and they set up very defensively and sat off and just let Huddersfield have the ball, especially the centre halves who had a lot of possession. And I think the midfield, rotation didn't get make forward runs to try and open spaces up. And the manager tried to change the shape a couple of times. He moved Holmes from the left inwards to try and cause a little bit of disruptions on their left hand side. And even though they had a lot of possession, they didn't move them quick enough from side to side to open the spaces to get the overloads down the sides, because second half they got the overloads and they got into good areas and they put balls into the box from the wide areas. But then as soon as Jordan Rhodes come on, I thought that changed the game a wee bit, because even though that Huddersfield were putting great balls into the box, there was no one getting on the end of it. They didn't have enough bodies in the right areas to get on the end of it. And as soon as Jordan came on, it was another pain in the backside for the Cardiff defenders. And like I said, it changed the game. But it was two really good goals. Composed header from Jordan to knock it down for the first one, and then the second goal, great composure to cut inside and then get the keeper off balance and just knock it in outside of his foot. He just picked his spot and just placed it, and two really good goals. But this end of the season, well, this part of the season, you win games how you have to win them. It doesn't matter how you win them. It's you've got to get them 3 points, especially the home fixtures. Tricky conditions, especially first half kicking against the wind, second half with the wind, they had the impetus to go and press a little bit higher and try and nick balls higher up the pitch. But I always thought, especially first half, when they did have possession, at times Cardiff nicked it and on the counter attack. Whether that was a couple of bad passes or whether they tried to, take an extra touch. But second half, they played more with impetus to try and get the ball in wider areas and try and be a nuisance more than anything, especially when the conditions were like what they are. And just getting balls into the box changes games. You cannot defend it a good cross, and that proved to be the point.
Yeah, Mel, that first half, Town were trying, obviously, but, Cardiff had set up with 5-4-2 and it was 5-3-2, sorry. It was really hard to break down and come through. And then when they scored, on the break, it almost had that feeling after that Fulham win that it might be a case of after the Lord Mayor's show for Town, but that comeback shows the spirit this team has, doesn't it?
Without a doubt, yeah. It was... the first half was incredibly frustrating because every time we had the ball, there were just banks of pink shirts blocked away, and we couldn't find the final pass. When we got in good positions, we just couldn't find the right ball, and it became incredibly frustrating. And I thought second half, Cardiff came out with a determined idea of pressing us higher up the pitch. And once they got the noses in front, you think, crikey, this is going to be difficult to turn it around. But in fact, we seemed to come to life all of a sudden. And we started knocking in the balls that we hadn't been knocking in. And like Lee says, you can't defend balls into the box all night long. You've got to, you will get chances if you get the ball in the box. And I thought Sober Thomas particularly was terrific. He really livened up. The whole of the second half, really, but particularly after Town went behind. And he put some fantastic balls into the box and it just creates pressure. And, Josh Koroma, I was delighted to see him score. And Jordan Rhodes to make it, as Lee mentioned. Jordan Rhodes made some lovely runs and some very canny play from an experienced striker.
That cushion header back for Koroma was absolutely outstanding. That's all experience. That
Correct. It was fantastic. He knew exactly what he was doing. He knew where Koroma was, and he knew that it would open up a chance. And I mean, he stuck it in the corner really well, which was brilliant. And then, the ball in for the winner was superbly controlled. And he sort of feigned to shoot, and everybody bought it, and then he just sort of drags it inside and poked it in the corner. It was a brilliant finish, and I'm delighted for John Russell because he's been playing ever so well. He had that goal ruled out against Sheffield United, which shouldn't have been.
Yes.
This is a first goal for the club. And to win such a vitally important match after what happened last Saturday, to build on that with a home win is just fantastic, to go up to fourth in the table. And, the last 15 minutes, so the stadium was rocking, wasn't it? So
yes.
It was absolutely brilliant for the fans. It was a great finish to the match.
Yeah, the atmosphere was outstanding. Obviously, we had a huge crowd in here, all four stands, pretty much full with the £5 offer, and Cardiff had brought a good number as well, and they contributed to that. It feels, Lee, like the atmosphere and the mood around the club, especially after Fulham, and then this backing it up, coming from behind. This is a sort of momentum and atmosphere that can keep a run like this going, because this is 16 games in all competitions now where Town have gone unbeaten. Goes back to November last year. It's ridiculous to say, but when you keep doing this sort of thing, that winning becomes a habit, and that this atmosphere can carry you forward, can't it?
100%. But on the other hand, you don't want to get carried away. You just want to focus on the next game. Although they're on a great run and the place was rocking, I'm sure that you'll be instilling that into them, just to keep their heads down and keep doing what they've been doing. And if they do that, like you said, seen tonight, that the fans will flock in there. And the fans love balls from coming, from wide areas. I remember when I played, when we had Ronnie Jepson and Andy Booth, that's all they wanted, and the crowd loved it. So that they can keep on doing that. But they've got more to the ball than just putting balls into the box. I've watched a few games of them, and they move the ball really well at times, and they get in behind. First half, they just because there was so many bodies behind the ball, there wasn't any room in the middle of the pitch. They had to move it from side to side quicker. But like I say, if they can keep on, just have that steely determination and just take one game at a time, and as long as they rest and recover and do all the right things and focus on the next game, then confidence will be sky high for Saturday.
Yeah, I think that's all correct. And, knowing this group and how they operate, I don't think they will be getting ahead of themselves at all, which is, why they're on such a great run, because they wouldn't have got this far if they'd started, believing their own hype or anything, would they? Mel, there are a few players now that, we can talk about more closely. One player that I think maybe flew under the radar today, and we couldn't even fit into our own club man of the match poll, was Lewis O'Brien. He was captain of the night with Hoggy rested on the bench. He played where he needed to. He got kicked all over the park, as he seems to every week now. That seems to be teams' way of dealing with him. He was excellent, wasn't he? And that leading by example, that effort that he puts in, and the way he drives the team forward is absolutely remarkable.
Yeah, he's always willing to take a hit for the team, isn't he? And he loves to be on the ball, and he's always making positive moves. Whether he's with or without the ball, he's always doing something positive. He's always first to try and win the ball back. He got moved at one stage. He was playing basically at left back, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Roma came on, and he was still influencing the play from there. Really, we know what he's like, Lewis. He's just all action, isn't he? He never stops. He's great on the ball, and he pushes forward as well and creates problems. Being naturally left-footed, obviously, he linked very well with Koroma, I thought, at times down the left-hand side towards the end of the game. And it was terrific to see all that hard work pay off in the end. Because if people aren't prepared to do that, and we know that they are, if they aren't prepared to do the hard yards, they're not going to win a game like this one tonight. Like Lee mentioned, in terrible conditions, no fun for anyone, really difficult to get some flowing football in there. And, And in the end, it was getting the ball in the mixer that paid off.
Yeah, one of the players that helped Town keep ahead and did his best to pump the ball forward whenever he could, Lee, is Tom Lees. And he, for all his troubles, he caught one in the head from Jordan Hugel as well. It seemed like it were an elbow where I was sat, but the referee might have seen it different with the yellow. That sort of defensive performance where he's willing to stick his head in, he's willing to come back on bandaged up, however it is, and it's not as if he couldn't have been taken off. That we could have had a concussion sub with it being a head injury if we wanted to, but the type of bloke he is refuses to come off and wants to play for the lads. That sort of shows what this means to this team, doesn't it? When a player like Lees is doing that sort of thing.
Yeah, definitely. And on the other hand as well, he won't want to, go off and somebody come and take his position and do just as well. They've got the jerseys; they want to keep the jerseys and they want to play every minute as possible. I mean, I think the challenge itself. I think the boy was, really looking at the ball more than anything else. But his arm did lead a wee bit.
Mm-hmm.
Being a big daft centre half like he is, he just gets strapped on and then carries on again. But going back to Lewis O'Brien, you need players like that in your team if you're going to have a successful team and have a successful season. And like you say, I thought he was outstanding tonight in all three roles that he played. He actually played left wing for a wee bit as well,
Yes,
so,
he did.
Yeah, so he was outstanding.
Lee, have you seen much of John Russell before tonight?
No, I haven't.
What did you make of him?
Well, if right at the start of the game, very first minute, he got the ball and he in his own half on the edge of the box, and he's done that feint like he done to score the goal, and he got out of a tight situation, made some passes, and I went, all right, it's decent, because I'd heard about him because I've got friends who were Huddersfield fans, and I think in possession he's very good. He could look forward a little bit more instead of going side to side, but great ability. Great cuss about him, great physique, and like you said, his goal was really, really good. That composure, have that ice cool feeling just to put it in the back of the net. When other people might panic, might slash at the ball and put it over, miss the goal, but he had the calmness for being, so young, and his first goal as well. Excellent, delighted for him. Yeah,
he's still technically a B team player the way it works at Town. He's got a certain threshold of games to get over before he graduates to the first team, which I think a few of the fans probably don't know about that. But that is how it works. The lads have to kind of earn their place in the first team. But he's been playing excellently since he went up. Mel, the other player that I wanted to ask you about was Lee Nichols, because he was, the first half he made a few telling saves. Seems to be every week now he does things that other keepers perhaps don't. And if your fans or anything to go by on the social media, he's just shooing for player of the season so far. Was it just a business as usual for Lee between the six? Even though he did concede, there's nothing much you could do about the goal that Doyle scored.
Yeah, I mean, it was actually a great finish from Doyle, and there wasn't anything that Lee Nichols could do about it. But in the first half, I mean, a couple of the saves he made, one was from Doyle, was absolutely fantastic. He's a great shot stopper. He's a commanding keeper, and to say that he's sort of come really from absolutely nowhere. I've said this before. Whoever scouted him, what a fantastic piece of work that was. Because he's come in and he's given the whole defence, such confidence, and the amount of clean sheets he's kept. I don't disagree with the fans who were saying that he's a shoo-in for player of the season, because it's hard to argue against him at the moment. He's commanding in the air. The conditions tonight were awful, but his handling was good. He bosses it. He uses the ball well. You can't ask much more of a keeper, really. And, he's got that bit of devilment about him as well. I mean, he wasn't having it when Hugel went up with the elbow. He was up there debating it with him on the halfway line for long enough, wasn't he, after having treatment? He's added a real solid element to our defence and to the way that we're performing. And yeah, Lee Nichols has made a massive impact this season. There's no doubt about that, Rog.
Yeah, massively so. Lee, from a player's perspective, you'll have been involved, hopefully, in a late win like that at some point in your career. How are the lads going to be feeling this evening? They're probably going to struggle to get off to sleep at this rate, aren't they?
Oh, definitely. Especially nighttime games like you just touched on. It's hard to get any rest and you constantly going to win the game in the night. To win the game late on is it's absolutely fantastic because you know that you're on top. You know that the other team hasn't got a chance to come and get back at you, because even though Huddersfield scored the second goal, they were still pushing on. But the game awareness from the manager, the game awareness from the boys from the last, I would say, 20, 25 minutes was very, very good. We rotated the formations, and then once they got themselves in front, they were very clever, keeping the ball in the corner and just wasting time. And it's good game awareness.
Yeah. Mel, game awareness and speaking about the performance overall, I want to give you the closing question, and I want to highlight the head coach, Carlos Corberán. We've not spoken about him yet, but 16 games unbeaten doesn't happen by accident. These type of comebacks, the changes he made to, bring on the players he did, take the risks he did them quite early, did them very proactively. He was kind of forced to, but, perhaps earlier on in the season, he might not have done it as quickly as he had done tonight. He deserves an awful lot of praise, doesn't he?
Yeah, I mean, things have turned around fantastically well. I mean, when you think back to just before this run started and that miserable defeat against Middlesbrough and a couple of the performances before that, which hadn't been very good, and people were wondering which way is this season going to go. People naturally had worries because of the way things have gone the last 2 or 3 years. But he's got hold of things. The players have believed as well. He's obviously got the players buying into what he wants from this season. And the players have done that magnificently, to be fair to them. And, the substitutions he made tonight, every one of them was spot on. I'd personally have brought Carolite on at half-time, to be honest. But for the second half, I'd have made that change with Sinani at half-time. But he just left it a few minutes later. But the other changes I thought were spot on. And that's someone he's aware of exactly what he wants from his team, and he knows exactly what he can get from the players in a certain situation. So, full credit to Carlos. He's done a terrific job. And let's hope we can keep it going. Let's hope that, go down to Birmingham and pick up another 3 points this Saturday.
Yeah, the championship keeps rolling on at St Andrews for us this weekend, which isn't an easy place to go either. You touch on with the head coach. I think he enjoyed himself as well. We've heard a couple of rumours that he might have knee slid when the winner went in, which we've not seen back yet. But I'd love to see if we can. But thank you very much for your time this evening, Lee. Thank you for your time as well, Mel, and thanks ever to Sportsbroker for sponsoring the show.